In the opening scene, we are introduced to 16-year-old girl Rin, who is in the middle of her pilgrimage. On her way, she comes across a couple of elderly women who give her a good luck bell. She attaches it to her backpack and continues her journey through the forest, following symbol-carved stones and visiting various temples en route. The scene then shifts to a couple of years back. We see a 13-year-old Rin who lives with her grandmother in a small hut somewhere at Mount Ishizuki. One day, she hunts down a rabbit and runs home, excited to cook a delicious meal. However, her elation turns to shock as she discovers that her grandmother has passed away. This leaves the girl clearly distraught, causing her to break down in tears. Overwhelmed with grief, Rin recalls her grandma's words about having to leave the world one day. Her grandma seems to have taught her a valuable lesson regarding the importance of doing good to others in order to receive good in return. Tell that to the rabbit. In the morning, as Rin goes to the nearby river to fetch water, she comes across a villager who inquires about her grandmother. Rin, who fears that the villagers will take her grandma away, hides the truth and pretends that she is fine. But despite her efforts, the man senses something is amiss, so he secretly follows her back home. Upon arriving, Rin starts to prepare a grave for her. Shortly after, she locks all the doors and windows before venturing outside to gather some wood. As soon as she leaves, the same villager walks to the door and peeps inside through a hole, only to discover the lifeless body of Jima. In the next scene, Rin returns home with firewood and finds that the man has broken into the house. He confronts Rin about the situation, but the girl starts to beat him up in rage and sends him away, claiming that she won't let the villagers take her grandma away from her. Afterwards, the man notifies all the villagers, who then capture Rin in an abandoned stable, tying her to a pillar. The villagers express their discontent with her choices and berate her for hiding her grandmother's passing. Following this, the local residents transport the grandmother to a nearby temple for proper funeral rites. Meanwhile, within the stable, Rin hears her grandmother's voice, offering reassurance that she will always be by her side. She also offers words of solace and encouragement in order to bolster her granddaughter's spirit. A few days later, while cooking rabbit soup, those rabbits don't catch a break. Rin is visited by a man named Sakichi from another village. He strikes up a conversation with Rin, showing interest in learning more about her. Amidst this, Rin offers him some of her rabbit soup, which earns her praise for its delicious taste. Continuing with the conversation, he delves further, inquiring about her hobbies. Rin reveals that she skillfully hunts rabbits, you don't say, and hides them away in the mountains. Hearing this, Sakichi proposes to buy all of her rabbits in exchange for money, a deal which she agrees to immediately. "I'd kill them all for free," she says. As they continue chatting, Sakichi asks if she wants to live a lavish life. Rin says yes and asks how it is possible. Sakichi then extends an invitation for her to accompany him to an island where she can have a job and live a good life. At this moment, Rin is suddenly reminded of her grandmother's stories about people who exploit poor families, selling innocent girls into laborious fates. Hence, she declines Sakichi's offer and asks him to leave. The following day, Sakichi approaches Rin and attempts to convince her one more time. This time, he highlights the possibility of earning sufficient enough money to build a decent grave for her grandmother. He also says that she can enjoy the magnificent sea. Hearing all this, Rin is finally convinced, and she accompanies Sakichi to an island called Mitarai. On their way, they come across a picturesque beach, and Rin, who has never before witnessed such an ocean, becomes speechless. Overwhelmed with excitement, she runs in the water, rolls along the beach, and joyfully plays with the sand. Wait until she finds out there's no rabbits here. The scene then shifts to a few days later, and we see Rin, who is now sold to a brothel house in Mitarai Island. There, she is assigned with the various chores, including cooking, cleaning, and so on. For the first few days, she is unable to adapt to the new environment, so she remains secluded in her room without eating or talking to anyone. Seeing her behavior, the brothel owners, who are a couple, chastise her for her stubbornness. One day, she is approached by another girl named Asa, who works as a shop clerk on the island. Rin likes her nature, so she quickly befriends her. Asa imparts some important lessons to Rin, explaining that she can return only if she works hard and complies with the owners. Encouraged by this insight, Rin, from the very next day on, begins to carry out all of the tasks, such as washing clothes, mopping floors, and serving the owner's needs. One day, Rin is mistreated by a customer, and she responds by splashing him with a bucket of water. As a consequence, the owner punishes Rin for her arrogance by subjecting her to a cruel thrashing. Despite the physical reprimand, Rin remains outwardly composed, acting as if she wasn't affected. Shortly after, the lady owner intervenes and suggests that Rin might be managing boats. The owner immediately likes the idea, and they decide to give Rin a new job. The following day, Rin heads to the shoreline where she meets a man named Shohei, who owns a boat. She requests that he teach her to row the boat. With her great interest and passion in this, she quickly grasps the skill and is soon prepared to engage in the boat business. After a few days, she is assigned to transport the brothel's sisters to the fisherman's ship. Witnessing her working as a rower, Asa gets curious about her intentions, so she inquires if Rin wants to escape. However, our girl answers with a no, stating that her actions are driven solely by her personal interests. guests. During a rainy evening, the lady owner expresses her concern about the declining business due to rain. Hearing this, Rin comes up with a strategy of her own. She asserts that rainy days offer a unique opportunity to make good profits, since there will be no competition. She also assures the owner that she can skillfully row a boat even in heavy rain. With confidence in her capabilities, the owner grants her permission to proceed. And just like that, Rin starts ferrying the sisters to the fisherman's ship despite the adverse conditions. This garners her a lot of praise from everyone, especially the fishermen, who love kicking it to rainy mood lo-fi beats, so they reward her with some money. As days pass by, the sisters in the brothel house express their displeasure regarding the quality of meals Rin has prepared, sparking a confrontation. This leads Rin to lose her temper, prompting her to storm away. She runs to a hill and rests under a tree. During this time, she experiences her first menstruation cycle, which sets her off into a state of panic. As she begins crying in fear, a generous woman approaches her and offers assistance. She takes her into her home and helps her clean up. And at this moment, Rin shares about her loneliness and the absence of someone to share such experiences with. In the next scene, Rin meets Shohei, who is returning from the sea with a catch of fish in his net. Seeing this, she asks him to release the fish back into the water because she can relate to these fishes sharing the feeling of being trapped. Shohei surprisingly agrees with her, which is dumb because they need to eat, but it makes Rin feel happy. She then leans into the fisherman's arms, sparking a romantic relationship. They still don't have food though. Later in the evening, Rin is in the middle of her work when the owner summons her. It becomes apparent that they are aware of her transition into womanhood through her menstruation cycle. They rejoice at the belief that they have gained a new sister for their brothel house. Furious, Rin refuses to be a prostitute and claims that she'll never engage with any customers. This infuriates the owner, who then subjects her to a brutal punishment. With her body full of bruises and blood, Rin goes to meet Shohei. She pleads with him to take her away from the island, and for this, she is ready to do everything he wants. She even agrees to sleep with him for free. Despite seeing her in such a situation, Shohei can do nothing, as he needs more money to buy a new boat that can take them away from the island. Now, with no one else to rely on, Rin takes matters into her own hands. She cuts her hair so that she will look ugly and won't have to serve as a brothel sister. The owners are enraged by her behavior, but they can do nothing but let her work as a rower. One morning, Sakichi makes a visit to the brothel house. Upon seeing him, Rin pretends to be nice and extends an invitation to enjoy some hot drinks, as well as to be the first customer of the day. But once Sakichi settles in, she abruptly chokes him, nearly taking his life. Sakichi somehow manages to free himself and quickly runs away in panic. Later that same day, Rin is approached by Asa, who informs her of Sakichi's death. Both Rin and Asa seem to find a sense of satisfaction in his demise, as he is the reason why they all ended up in a brothel house. In the evening, Rin meets with an elderly man who presents her with a gift. Intrigued by his unexpected generosity, she inquires why he is being nice to her, to which the elderly man responds that he values her straightforwardness. He offers her a safe space to vent her frustrations, promising to support her through it all. After the man departs, the owners inform Rin that the elderly man is an executive of a trade union who wants to buy her on contract. Rin, however, firmly rejects the proposition. Following this, she retreats to the woods and lays down beneath a tree. During this quiet moment, she hears her grandmother's voice, encouraging her to return to the mountains. A few moments later, she makes her way back to the brothel house, where she comes across a man, a pastor, with a boat on the shoreline. Rin rushes towards him and pleads with him to take her along anywhere he might be heading. Although the man genuinely wants to help her, he explains that their current lack of funds prevents an immediate escape. He tells her to wait for him, assuring that he will come back for her rescue. The refusal upsets Rin, prompting her to walk away, sadly. Several months pass, and Rin reluctantly begins to engage in the tasks assigned by the owners. Her youthful appearance draws in a substantial number of customers, given that the world is a broken-ass place, which leads her to become the #1 worker of the brothel house. Despite this, she remains her bold personality, as she doesn't tolerate any physical violence. One day, Rin wakes up to find a world shrouded in darkness, initially mistaking it for nighttime. She soon realizes that she has lost her sight. Despite her predicament, she tries her best to act normal so that she won't be dominated by others. But unlike before, Rin is helpless when it comes to defending herself. Seeking assistance, Rin visits an eye doctor who delivers disheartening news. Her right eye has completely lost its sight, while her left eye's vision is limited to a mere 30 centimeters. This devastates Rin, as she lacks money for treatment. When she returns to the brothel, her fellow sisters sense something amiss and ask about her eyes. Rin confidently claims that her vision is indeed clear. One of the sisters challenges her to prove prove it by rowing the boat, and our girl agrees to it. After this, Rin, along with the other sisters, sets off to the sea. But, unfortunately, Rin is unable to control the boat like she used to, which ultimately causes the sisters to fall into the water. As days pass by, the owners grow increasingly concerned about their business, as Rin is no longer able to attract customers as before. Witnessing her plight, Asa approaches Rin and inquires if everything is alright. Though initially hesitant, Rin finally reveals about her deteriorating eyesight. In response, Asa proposes that Rin embark on a pilgrimage and escape the island. However, Rin seems to have given up on all her aspirations due to her blindness. One day, Rin hears a voice calling her to a temple, offering herbal tea. Initially, she ignores the call, but after a lot of contemplating, she runs outside. She makes her way to the shore, where the pastor is waiting for her. Rin is unable to figure out his identity because of her blindness, so she asks his name. The pastor doesn't disclose anything and guides her to a boat, revealing that he is fulfilling her desire to leave the island. He hands her money and advises her to become a pilgrim, suggesting it might aid in restoring her eyesight. In the final scene, Rin is seen exploring temples as depicted in the opening moment. As night descends, she seeks a place to rest, only to be haunted by dreams of fire, vividly reliving the past brutalities she endured. With the arrival of the next sunrise, Rin awakens and continues her pilgrimage journey. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.